It's day 7 of the Israel-Hamas war. The ongoing war between Israeli forces and Hamas militants is only escalating. On Thursday, Israel released horrific visuals of charred and decapitated bodies of children, accusing Hamas of the heart-wrenching crime. IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, published new footage showing elite troops retaking Gaza border posts from Hamas on Saturday. In fact, the soldiers rescued around 250 hostages alive. Over 60 Hamas terrorists were neutralized and 26 were apprehended in this operation. Also, Israeli forces are using a bulldozer to destroy Hamas locations in the West Bank. Israel has told the United Nations to evacuate the northern Gaza Strip within 24 hours. Meanwhile, in an undisclosed location, Mk-84 2000 lb bombs equipped with joint direct attack munition kits are on standby at an undisclosed airbase in Israel. This significant development hints at Israel's imminent ground assault to wipe off Hamas terrorists.
עזה לא תיראה אותו הדבר. אנחנו נגיע למצב בו מי שהנהיג את עזה יוכה קשה, נפרק אותו. ומי שישאר שם יבין היטב שדבר כזה לא עושים למדינת ישראל.
First, let me say this with regard to 9/11. If you look at this in proportion to the size of Israel's population, this is the equivalent of 10 9/11s. That's how big and how devastating this attack has been.
In a litany of brutality and inhumanity that, yes, brings to mind the worst of ISIS. Babies slaughtered, bodies desecrated, young people burned alive, women raped.
The President's been very clear. I've been very clear. We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel in its determination to defend its people, defend its country. We stand with Israel in its determination to do everything possible to ensure that what happened on Saturday never happens again. And in that determination, we are, of course, as you know, providing assistance as requested by Israel for its efforts. That will continue. And we're working closely with Congress to make sure that Israel has what it needs to do what it must.
My colleague Gaurav Sawant is now joining me live from Israel. Gaurav, we're hearing many reports about the preparations that Israel seems to be making for a ground invasion of the Gaza Strip. What are you learning in terms of all of these preparations? Because we've also heard that Israel has told the United Nations that within 24 hours, they should in fact evacuate everyone from the northern part of Gaza.
We've been reporting very extensively from the southernmost parts of southern Israel, and this is where the Israeli army is geared to push in. Through the day, we were around Sderot and Kfar Aza, that entire belt where multiple gun positions have been dug out, where Israeli army and artillery have been pounding Hamas strongholds, where Israeli ground troops have been lined up for their assault, where Israeli armor and infantry combat vehicles, they've also been put in place to carry out that big assault. And it's only imminent. It's a matter of time. In fact, Israel has made it very clear that need be, they will go in. So it's not if, but when they go in. Whether it happens in the next 24 hours, their only aim was to retake all the territory within their areas to ensure that there are no remnants of Hamas terrorists inside Israeli territory, to ensure all the kibbutz, all the settlements, all the areas are absolutely clear. The moment that has been achieved, they would be going in. They're going in perhaps in a very, very big way. As Israel's army said, this is the biggest mobilization in Israel's history and the fastest mobilization, where now 300,000 troops have been deployed all along the southern part of Israel and some close to the northern borders. So Israel's big push into Gaza will happen the moment artillery and air completely decimate Hamas strongholds for ground troops to be able to move in. Follow me.
Right. Gaurav, stay on with us. This is in fact a report that Gaurav has filed as Israel mobilizes troops and tanks to the Gaza border. India today is the only channel tracking imminent Gaza invasion. Here's Gaurav Sawant's dispatch from the area.
Massive movement of the Israeli army right behind me. Watch these images. You see a large number of Israeli army personnel moving right towards the front lines. Watch these images. These are soldiers of the Israeli army moving towards the front along the borders. Remains extremely grim, and you can see these images. These are soldiers who are all moving towards the front line, one after the other, one vehicle after the other, and all singing songs of bravery and patriotism. Songs of bravery, songs of patriotism, songs that fill Israel with enthusiasm and the will to fight. Here is where you see these Israeli soldiers singing songs of bravery on their way to the border. This is one of the final lines. This is this actually shows you the morale of the Israeli army. This is the last line, and you can see their morale high. They're singing songs of valor. They're singing songs of patriotism as they head to the border to defend their nation from radical terror represented by Hamas. These are soldiers who could well be going across sooner than later to decimate the threat that Israel faces. Gaurav Sawant in Sderot, southern Israel, for India Today.
Now, singing songs of valor and patriotism, Israeli army moves to take position near Gaza. Convoys of young soldiers moving to the borders in their Humvees and armored fighting vehicles. All indications of Israel's resolve to decimate the Hamas threat from the Gaza Strip. India Today's Gaurav Sawant reports from the route to Gaza near Sderot in southern Israel.
Fighting has intensified close to the Gaza Strip. Right behind me, you can hear not just the bombs, and you can see plumes of smoke rising above the skyline. You can also hear the machine gun fire. You can also hear the staccato of small arms fire, one after the other. This is an indication that the fighting is now getting really close to the Gaza Strip. Just a short while back, we saw several convoys move in quick succession closer to the Gaza Strip. Of course, the artillery, the armor, the mechanized infantry, they've already moved in this direction, all along the Gaza Strip. All indications that the Israeli army, after pounding Hamas bases close to Gaza, is now preparing for a ground assault. It's not if, but when will that ground assault actually take place in real terms, in large numbers. The Israeli army says this has been the fastest and the largest mobilization of troops. 3 lakh troops have been mounted on both sides of the border. And watch these images right behind me as more vehicles, more Humvees now head towards the border. Armed to the teeth, these soldiers are heading towards the border, one after the other. This is the latest situation on ground, on the road that leads to Gaza.